Hello everyone. We are going to can some sausage today. I have already done about 7 quarts of sausage this morning, and now I'm going to do pints because I got my mom's double canner, goodness. And I want to be able to stack 2 rows in there. So let's get our supply list ready. All right, so first what we're going to do is this is how I sterilize my jars sometimes. So you obviously want either your pints or your quart jars, and then you want them sanitized. Hot water. A lot of people just will sit them upright and pour water in them. Whatever you have to do to get them sanitized, run through a dishwasher, anything like that. So I just have mine in my roaster right now, just cooking away in there. And then of course you want to have your sausage. So here's my sausage right now. This can be homegrown sausage. It can be sausage that you get on sale somewhere. Obviously you don't have to do this big of a load, but even if you grab a deal where you find a couple packets of sausage, like 3 for $7 or 3 for $10, I just say buy it, put it in your freezer until you're able to can it. Anything that you have canned on your shelf is worth doing. So just remember that any deals that you come across and you say like, well, I don't have the time to do it right now. That's fine. Pick it up anyway, freeze it. If it can be frozen, freeze it because you want to do it. It's just something to have on your shelf for an easy meal as backup. So just do it. So we have our sausage, and then obviously we're going to have our canner with some hot water. The stove is on, warming that up, and then my lids and rings. So these are in water. I have the stove on, so they're going to get hot. They are going to sanitize the lids and the rings, get them warm. They don't have to be boiling or anything, just warm enough for a long period of time to kill any bacteria or germs on them. And then obviously you're going to need your lifesaver. It's a jar. And then we will start jarring up our sausage. All right, we are ready to put the sausage in the jars. I pulled my jars out of my roaster. I'm gonna let them kind of cool just for a minute because they were extremely hot and I don't want to put, my semi-cooled sausage in the jars. So once you take your sterile jars, your hot jars, out of wherever you have them, put them on a towel because you don't want the temperature from your countertop to break or crack your jars. So this kind of just helps that thermal, environment with your jars. So canning sausage is one of the easiest things. Like if you are new to canning or just want to start preserving, small, easy things, sausage and meat is the way to go. I mean, it takes a lot longer to cook, obviously, because it's a very low acidic food. But it's so simple, and I like simple. And there is a couple ways that you can do it. I raw pack my jars. So I literally take raw meat and I put it inside of a jar and then I cook it. It cooks in the canner. So, and then obviously when you pull it out and you're ready to use it, you're going to cook it again. So this is why I think it's so awesome for people to do, is because it's so simple to do. If you literally have a couple hours on a Saturday, Friday night, Sunday, during the week, whatever day that you have a moment to do this, I say do it. All right, so I'm going to pull. So this batch is going to be spicy pork sausage. So literally this came from our hog. It don't have the weight, but I think this is about a 1 pound package of sausage. Literally just put it in the jar. You just squeeze it, and then I have a pounder, but it's downstairs. I need to go get it. But then you can just take something and then just push, you know, just get that and just push it down in there, kind of pack it in there. And then you just continue to do that. It's easier if you use wide mouth jars. Got a little bit more in there than what, just because it's, you know, obviously easier to get your hands in there to do. So, see, literally, we just pack it down in there. But see how this is almost up to the rim, the top right here? We don't want that. So you want to take, you know, some out, give it enough head space in there to cook and get the juices in there. So it's literally from here to here is your inch. It's your head space marker. And you want your items below that just for the juices. You can probably put a little bit more in, but I try to keep it right at that 1 inch head space. You just push and get all that air bubble out, and then you can set that jar aside and then just keep a can in your sausage. All right, now that I have all of my pints right here packed full of the sausage, now we're just going to wipe the rims, the lids, just to make sure that there's no anything that's going to hinder that seal of your lid on here. So literally it's just as simple as taking, this is actually paper towel. I put it in some of this hot water that has my rings in and lids, and then you just wipe it. Just make sure you don't see any visible, you know, product, sausage, or if you're doing salsa, whatever it is, it literally cannot have anything interfering with the seal because it's just not going to seal. So it's very simple. Some people do like vinegar, which I have done that in the past as well. Just, you know, a little bit of vinegar on your towel or rag. But then I just read an article where they're saying like the vinegar will rust and turn your rings. Obviously, you know, it'll rust them out, which I don't know if that's true, but I know I put a little bit of vinegar in my canner water to kind of help my glass, my jars not be that like slimy, like, oh, because we had hard water before we got our softener. So my jars were coming out a little bit funky, but now we got our softener and that has helped so much. So whatever you do, you just got to make sure that you have a clean towel. Like this one is, me and this one had a war. I don't know if you can see it around there. But literally, like even on the sides, if you see big chunks or particles on the sides here, just go ahead and get that. And then if you have to get a new towel, don't be afraid to get a new towel. So then once we have this all wiped down, the next step is to just go ahead and put our lids and rings on. And then we'll seal them up. And then we will go ahead and put that in our canner. Just like that. So the next step, I obviously have one of those magnets, little magnet wands to pull your lids and rings out of something hot. Don't reach in like I just did. This is still warm, so it's not like hot. I can still touch the water and not burn myself. So once you grab your lid and ring, you literally put it on there, just finger tight. You don't need to be like, you don't need to really screw it down. You just need to get as strong as you are, just finger tight, just done. And then you just set that aside. And then you'll just complete, you know, finger tight, done. So simple, y'all. So simple. It's so easy, and it's such an amazing feeling to know that you can supply your family with just, if whatever happens in life, a lot of people, say, oh, you just prepped because you're a crazy person. Well, that's a good possibility. But, I mean, we can have power outages here and anything like that. Tornado could go through. Life can just happen. And we may not have the finances or whatever it may be, but I know that I have food down on my shelves that I can feed my family. And that is why I do it, is right there. That is my number one thing, is I have the opportunity to learn and to grow and to do this stuff for my family. And that is why I want to do it. So I'm going to finish putting these on, and then we will do the next step. All right, so now all the rings and lids are in place. So now the next step is all we do is we just take them over to our pressure canner. We're just going to sit them gently down in there. We're just going to do that until that first row is in there. And you want, I need to take a little bit of this water out. So you want like 1 inch to 1.5 inches of water inside your pressure canner at the bottom, reheating. Do not drop it in there like I just did. It slipped right on out. Oh, Lord. Gently place your sausage or whatever you're canning in there. So next, I'm just going to add the divider, because this is a double stacked pot. All right, so all of this sausage is in the canner. It's got it full, so I'm going to put on the lid of it. So this is a Presto canner. It's a gauged, weighted. The jiggler will go here, but so they have arrows, kind of hard to see right here, the arrow. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this arrow, and then there's a little arrow on the side here. You're just going to line those arrows up, and then you're just going to lock it into place. You just twist these handles, and then let me show you here. So here's that V, and then right there is the other V. So when you line them up, and then you just turn it, and it's locked in place. So now I already have my heat set on medium. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit, just to where you're going to start hearing like the bubbling and the boiling inside. And then once we hear that, I will come back. All right, y'all, so my canner has been heating up. It is boiling. You can hear it. So at this point, it's still going. It's not quite ready to put the jiggler on yet, but I wanted to show you. So this is a vent, and then back here, that little black knob is also a vent as well. When that pressure inside there, these are going to pop up, and that's a good thing. So I don't know if you can see it. I know you can see the steam coming from this, but if you can see that steam coming from the tube right there, so I can get in there. So this is not a steady stream of steam. Say that 3 times fast. So you want a steady stream of steam. I mean, you're going to see it and you're going to hear it. It's going to kind of sound like a whistle. But we're getting there. So once you have a steady stream of steam, you're going to hit your timer and let it time for 10 minutes. You're going to let the steam vent for 10 minutes, and that's when we're going to put on our jiggler. So when we get to that point, we will come back. All right. So this vent has popped. There's pressure inside of the canner right now, and it's kind of hard to see, but if you can see the steam coming out, see how it's not like sputtering or anything like that. It's literally like a straight heavy steam coming. It's just, so now we're going to set our timer for 10 minutes. And then we're going to let 10 minutes go by of this steaming, just a constant steam like this. All right, so our timer for our vent steam 10-minute timer has gone off. So we're just going to stop that. And now that's when we're going to put on our jiggler. That goes just on here, just like that. So now what this does is this holds obviously all the pressure, all the steam inside of the canner here. And this gauge is going to move. We are under 1,000 sea level. So we can at 10 pounds of pressure. So once the pressure starts building up in here, this gauge is going to start moving up, and I will show you when it starts moving. All right, so here already, and it's honestly only been a few minutes, I still have my heat on high heat, and the poundage is already up to almost 5 pounds of pressure inside of the canner. So I will come back in a few minutes and it should be up to 10 pounds of pressure. All right, it has almost reached 10 pounds of pressure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my heat down. I'm going to turn it to, we're going to start around medium. So, I mean, obviously I know that this is going to go above 10, which is fine to a point. You just don't want it to go below 10, because now we're going to go ahead and start our 90 minutes, because that is how long it takes for quarts size jars of meat to be canned. So for 90 minutes, we need to obtain 10 pounds of pressure. So we have to keep a close eye on this gauge. If it obviously goes above 10, that's fine. But we don't want it to go below 10 for a long period of time. So we can keep this dial around 10, then that will be perfect for 90 minutes, because that kills all of the bacteria inside the jars. All right, we are still holding. I think we're close to about 11 pounds of pressure right now, which is still really good. My heat setting is right on medium, and I still have a little over an hour, about 70 minutes. So this will just chill here for about 70 minutes. But I just wanted to take a minute, since I have time, and just do a little kitchen cleanup here per se. So I just really want people to succeed in canning. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I'm fearful, or oh, you know, I've heard bad experiences of canners blowing up, and I have never heard of any canner blowing up. In the modern, like, you know, my grandpa's probably back in, you know, a long time ago, our grandparents, yes. But kitchen appliances and techniques have definitely grown. They have, you know, excelled. So don't be afraid to jump into this. A lot of people I hear, any type, it's like, oh, you know, you're so lucky that you're able to do this. I am. I'm very blessed to be able to do this, but so are you. You can do it as well. It's a mind shift. You have to kind of want to do it. Start out small, like I said. Buy a couple, you know, things of sausage or meat that's on sale. Buy a case. Just start out with one case of pints and just work from there. You know what I mean? Because that right there is awesome. That right there is a blessing for y'all to have on your shelves. But this is something that's so passionate to me, is helping people just kind of be more self-sustainable, and rely on themselves, and not, you know, the government or anybody else to supply you with your food. Yes, I mean, you know, you may not be able to raise, you know, cows or pigs or chickens or turkeys or whatever it may be, but you can still buy that stuff from a store, buy it from an Amish store, buy it from a local farmer, your neighbor, somebody that you know, support them, because it is hard work, but it's so rewarding. But besides that, a lot of people are like, oh, money, I mean, I don't have the money, I don't have the extra, finances to buy all the equipment, to buy the jars and the lids and the rings and all of that stuff. Listen, I am a very frugal person. I like my thrift shops. I love looking at, the secondhand stores or marketplaces, selling walls, anything like that. As long as it's in great condition and usable, go for it. My mom normally buys a lot of my canning equipment for me for like either birthday present or Christmas. But so start looking, pressure canner, depending on what kind and brand that you get. It depends on the, how much it costs, depends on the brand of it. But do your research before you go diving in. Find what canner suits you. Like I said, start out small. Buy in the off season too. Like I have not once yet this fall, this canning season, had to buy lids. I buy that stuff when it's a little bit cheaper in the springtime. $1 or $2, it still adds up. I will buy just the off season stuff because you don't want to be in the middle of canning season and like want to, spend an arm and a leg on a box of jars or a box of lids or rings or anything like that. So I always try to think ahead. So I will buy all of my my spices and my lids during the springtime and summer months where the gardens are still growing, but yeah, it's not canning season full force. It literally just takes a couple hours to do it. So, like I said, if you have a day that you're going to be home or a couple hours to spare, or if you're just like, I'm too tired, I'm literally sitting on my couch while I'm canning. So, it's that easy. So, yeah, it's just, I always try to buy something. I've said it before. I always try to buy one thing at the store extra that I need, whether it be spices or rice or jars or lids or vinegar, vinegar, apple cider vinegar if I don't make my own. Just a 5% vinegar. I buy it by the case, so I know that I have it. Actually, I haven't bought any this year because I bought a case last year and I have still been using that. I didn't make a lot of pickles, so that's another reason why I didn't have to buy a lot of vinegar this year. So just always try to think ahead of what your next project's going to be. And another thing, like if you're like, well, I don't like meat from the store or this or that, or deer season, if you have a neighbor that goes hunting and you ask him to get a deer for you, can up your deer so you're not taking up the freezer space in your freezer. It literally is so much easier. It's just like that. I raw pack our deer meat and put it in the canner and it's done. So then we're just a few little house tips. If you have any questions, reach out to me. This is besides, God, family, church. It's my homestead. It's my life to do this on the farm here, just to preserve food and to help others know and learn and grow, themselves, and changing that mindset, changing that thinking that I have to rely on somebody else. And number one, the stores, food is getting outrageous, absolutely outrageous. So to save money, this is the next best way to do it is this. There's a lot of people out there that have YouTube channels and videos, which is an amazing resource, but your first thing needs to just be buying the books and reading and researching that way, because everybody does canning different, per se. There is that basic umbrella that you have, but then a lot of people add in this and this and this and this and this, and that changes it. So your first thing, if you just want to get into canning, Very first thing to buy, very first thing before you buy any canner or water bath or jar, is you need to buy the Ball Preserving Book, the newest edition. I think they come out every year, every few years. You just got to keep an eye on it and just buy it as soon as, because I mean, them are tested and tried true recipes by professionals that are safe, that you're not going to have botulism or anything like that, as long as you follow that to a T. So that's their safe canning stuff. So I hope, so here in a little over an hour, we will pull out our first jar of sausage. So this is the sausage that we canned. It's a couple days later. I got busy and had an event I had to attend to, so when I came home, I pulled them out of the canner and they sat, and today I will clean them up and I will label them with the date that I canned them and then put them down in our basement. So that is how you can sausage. It's so easy and so awesome.